they've finished having those photographs taken, I just want to remind you who we are. This is the RAKDAO conference, the MENA region's premier Web3 and blockchain summit. As I said, I hope you're all feeling very refreshed and ready for this insightful afternoon. Please don't forget to keep the conversation going throughout the day on your social media channels. And don't forget to hashtag us, which is hashtag RAKDAO conference, or tag us on X if you like, at RAKDAO. So let's get straight into business. And this is mapping the decentralized world, the vision behind RAKDAO. Thriving within a well-integrated ecosystem is crucial for long-term success. This discussion emphasizes how businesses can leverage the strengths of interconnected networks to accelerate growth, drive innovation, and enhance their overall market position. Please give a warm welcome to the first moderator of the afternoon, Amit Arora, Head of Partnerships at RAKDAO.
We talk about ecosystems and we have to be closer, right? So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Hard act to follow after lunch. I hope everybody had good lunch. Ecosystem. So, I've been at RAKDAO for the last 6 months, and the title is Head of Partnerships. The whole idea of RAKDAO, and His Highness spoke in the morning about providing a collaborative environment to the licensees, to everybody coming in RAK, has been the vision behind building RAKDAO. I've been in the blockchain space for close to about 5 years now, and working at different organizations, one thing I've learned is the fastest way to growing a company is collaborating with the builders in the space. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce a few partners that we have brought on board at RAKDAO. Michael, starting from yourself, you mind giving a quick introduction?
Hi, I'm Michael Carbonara, one of the co-founders and CEO of Ibanera. And Ibanera, we're a full fintech and banking and payments company, providing all types of things in the system, from issuing, acquiring, cross-border payments, multi-currency banking, and everything Web 2, Web 3 interoperable.
Perfect. Moving on, Zed, please.
Thank you for having me. My name is Zaid Batayne. I'm from CoinMina. We are a licensed crypto platform licensed by VARA in Dubai, and as well as the Central Bank of Bahrain, which means you can connect your bank account directly to your wallet and wire money in, wire money out, and trade over 50 digital assets within your local currency.
Thank you. Mujtaba, over to you, please.
Hi, good afternoon. Mujtaba Sadian here. I'm CEO and founder of IOPN. IOPN is an integrated Web3 ecosystem, user-centric, with a focus on decentralization, AI, and metaverse.
Perfect. Last but not the least, Enzi, please.
Thank you for having me. I honestly thought the whole panel was going to be lawyers, so kind of excited to be the only one. So my name is Henzi. I'm a New Zealand qualified lawyer, been practicing in the UAE for over 10 years, and had my own firm for over 5, and a large part of what we do is virtual assets.
Perfect. Now, I was speaking to Henzi backstage, and we were talking about licensing that RAKDAO does, service that RAKDAO provides, and we were speaking about an analogy that when you go to Disneyland, you don't buy the tickets for the ride, you buy the ticket for an experience. The ticket to RAKDAO is the license, and what lies ahead is the whole experience. Lawyers are a big part of that experience, because when a company comes to RAKDAO, that company wants to establish its legal framework, wants to understand the legal laws. How have you been kind of helping these organizations, and what's the value proposition that RAKDAO has been providing you?
I think the biggest thing in the UAE is education, because we have 4 different regulators and so many different places to choose from, and virtual assets is obviously a beast of its own. So helping by adding, it's all about community.
Yep.
And about education. So we've been trying to give back to the community, educate as much as we can, and then also helping individual clients when they come to us by giving them the correct advice. And so RAKDAO, the offering has been that you guys have been extremely approachable when it comes to, like, you've been industry-led, and you're listening to us as being a service provider in the industry, etc. So I don't want to speak for too long on the value proposition, but one, approachable, very amenable to creating solutions for the market, and then having licenses that no one else has, and just in general, like looking how to benefit the entire ecosystem as opposed to just certain parts of it.
Perfect. I'll quickly jump on to Zed. Zed, I've been working very closely with Talal ever since I came in, and I see a lot of companies or a lot of builders coming to RAKDAO and asking for support on payment rails, on on-ramps, off-ramps. CoinMina has been a great partner to RAKDAO. What are the challenges that you think builders in the space have, and how is CoinMina as a partner solving them to RAKDAO?
Yeah, I think, and you touched on this a little bit, there's just maybe, if you're not in the space, maybe you're not sure where to start because there's so many different options. And that's both a good thing and maybe a little bit confusing thing. For us, we see from companies' perspective who want to open, get licenses, the biggest challenge by far is just making sure they get banking services. I think that's a challenge that every company in this sector faces. And it's not clear where the lines are. Sometimes it's allowed, sometimes it's not. I think that's the main challenge that most people face.
No, fantastic. We spoke about banking and the gentleman far left. Michael, you've had regulatory licenses all across the globe. Now, when you chose Ras Al Khaimah as the point to converge and kind of point to build in the UAE, what are your vision in terms of helping the builders through Ibn Era's platform? And what role does the community play in kind of enhancing that vision as well?
Sure. I could tell you from my experience dealing with regulators pretty much across the globe, Central Asia, Southeast Asia, Europe, America, most regulators have been anti-business. They find all the ways to tell you no. And then the depository institutions that follow those regulatory guidelines don't know how to even treat fintechs or anybody in this Web3 space. So it's very difficult to do business. The big thing about what I've learned at RAKDAO is that the whole ecosystem, everybody wants to learn how to do it right. And RAKDAO has brought in the top experienced people I've seen that really understand Web3. They understand digital assets. And they really help businesses guide them step by step, because in reality, this is a new region, and most of the traction is from businesses elsewhere. So they need all the help they can get to come in this new territory, to learn the regime, and to do business properly. And RAKDAO does a great job of doing that.
No, that's fantastic. Sorry.
Yeah, can I just add to that? Because we have a very great opportunity right now, because we see the approach of regulators in Western countries, let's say, where it's really anti-business, like you're saying. They're actively pushing people away. And we can use that. That's a massive opportunity for us. So we've had the same experience when dealing with different regulators here, that their approach is really constructive. There's a good, healthy back and forth. Yes, there's laws and there's audits, etc. That's completely reasonable. But in general, if we raise an issue that we think doesn't make sense, there's a good and healthy back and forth. And I think that's so important for founders and for businesses to feel comfortable establishing here that the regulator is not there to hinder your progress. They're trying to set up a framework to work within, so that a safe playing space, let's say a safe operating space, but not trying to stop you, and more importantly, or more worse, push you away even.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely, yes. And that'll lead me to my next question to Mujtaba. Mujtaba, I think we've been in a dialogue and working together for almost 6 months now. What role does the community play for you as IOP and as a protocol owner? And what role has RAKDAO and the community at RAKDAO and the ecosystem as RAKDAO played in terms of helping you grow, in terms of expanding your business, and what are your future plans with the community? Absolutely.
So Web3 is all about the community, and I think the value of the community is what it gives to the projects and protocols. So we have been receiving an excellent review with the clients that we refer to RAKDAO, and the team has been really supportive. And in terms of our protocol and what we do, we are just getting started with the launch of Layer 1 blockchain, and we are in a process of attracting talents from all around the world, and we use RAKDAO's platform to to move them to UAE.
Perfect. No, no. So when I see partnerships, right, there are three basic layers: collaboration, converging, and compounding. So on the collaboration bit, my last question is to Henzi. Henzi, you are a lawyer in the blockchain space. There's a lot of new regulations happening. How do you deal with questions that you don't have answers to sometime, and how do you try to find answers? So let's say a community member comes in and says, oh, I have this dream project, I want to build this and build that. And you're trying to dig deeper and find regulatory answers to that. How do you tackle with these situations, and what's the solution that you give them?
No, it's a very, very good question, because unfortunately it happens that regulations are always reactive, right? Because they have to be. And so they're always changing. Not always, but you know what I mean, like they're quite fluid. So I think the best thing that I would do is be honest, number one. I would always admit, like, look, this is something I need to look a little bit deeper into. But then when you have that good dialogue with the regulators, then it's nice for a discussion point. There's enough to go research. And sometimes there's creative solutions which fit between a gray area. So.
Yeah. Michael, any say on that? Like, when you provide solutions on ramping, cross borders, how does the community impact the solutions you're developing at Abinera? And I saw a lot of artwork, at the stall. So was that community driven? Was that a decision taken at the board? I mean, what makes you drive these decisions at your company?
I think we were trying to solve problems, and it took some creativity to solve those problems. And what I found that there's no real change in the fundamentals of AML and compliance or any of the regulatory regimes. What's changing is the technology and really understanding how to apply that technology to existing framework. Because at the end of the day, what was built in traditional finance still applies. So it's about understanding how the technology evolves and works around with that framework.
Perfect. Moving on, Zed, I'd love for you and your company have had amazing number of clientele that has come on board. When we talk about collaboration, community helping and driving out solutions, community-driven solutions, and then ecosystem helping deliver those solutions, can you highlight any use case that kind of stands apart?
Can you repeat the question?
So we are looking at new solutions coming up in the industry. Like, I'll give you an example. When we trade, when we kind of look at assets, digital assets, virtual assets, has the company decisions been driven by the community? If yes, any use case?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we have to react to what the market needs as well. So, for example, I'll highlight one of the biggest use cases that we've had the past couple of years, which is stablecoins. Like the use of stablecoins globally and here is exploding, and the use cases are varied. There's different individuals use it for certain reasons, and companies now are starting to use it as well, because it's just a more efficient way of sending and receiving value across the world. So we're seeing those use cases, and based on that, we're responding and providing more products and services. So whether it's different blockchain rails to move, for example, USDT now, you can send it over 3 different blockchains. You can send it on ERC20 or Tron or TON. Same thing with USDC. You can send it on ERC20 or Solana or recently Stellar as well. So yeah, definitely we have to keep in mind and keep our ears to the ground and see what the market needs and then provide that solution for them.
And the follow-up to that question was, I mean, how does your partnership or how does your community, in the sense of your partners, help you build these solutions? Because not everything can be done in-house. So, I mean, I'm sure the partnerships that you have across the board in different layers is a value addition. So, Mustafa, any case you'd like to highlight where the community has led you to make decisions on the company's behalf, and how your partners have helped execute those decisions?
So, I mean, as the source of decentralization, communities should participate in the key decisions and key decisions. So we have not yet, but we are building the backend and necessary platforms to facilitate that, to make it possible for the users to help us with the new directions and participate in the key decision of the project.
And what roles would your partners in the ecosystem play to execute those decisions?
Well, I mean, it could include the key decisions in the execution of and the direction of the projects in different pillars.
Perfect. Henzi, you deal with all the layers in the Web3 space, right? You deal with protocols, you deal with asset issuers. How's the collaboration helped? I mean, if you can highlight a use case, how's the collaboration between different layers helped in growth of any project?
So in the Web3 space, we know that for certain things, especially token launches, etc., it's all about the community. So community is extremely important, which is why it's nice that RAKDAO has sought to create a community which is very in line with virtual assets, right? Because it's a free zone focusing on virtual assets. But no, so for example, and I'm trying to think of which client examples I can actually use that I have permission to. Okay, so we incorporated David Schwam, the inventor of the blockchains, a company with RAKDAO, right? Better than money. So RAKDAO, me and Meng had a good mind session, and we found a license and everything. So he's part of the community, and I do believe you guys have provided him a lot of support, having been in the community. We have another client who had a very unique marketplace that they were building, where they were actually creating ruins, so breaking down coins to build on top of. And so again, by the collaboration part of RAKDAO, there's always a solution, right? Yes, it is within regulation, but there's always a solution. And then, I mean, you guys connect everyone within the community. It's very supportive. If you're in RAKDAO, then RAKDAO provides a lot of support to you. If that's what you mean.
That's a lot of RAKDAO coming in, and I don't want to deviate the focus from you guys.
I'm RAKDAO's #1 fan, so I was probably the wrong person to bring on the panel.
No, that's good to hear. Going back to Michael. Michael, we were speaking about your organization being present in multiple countries. I'm pretty sure the dynamics of ecosystem in these countries similar but different. How do you deal with those dynamics, and what does these ecosystems in different countries, kind of give you an experience of?
In terms of RAKDAO, my experience is completely different than the other regulators. I think what is really critical is that RAKDAO goes out of their way to form personal relationships with the companies that are coming into the ecosystem. And by far, that just creates a lot of transparency and trust on who you're doing business with, because you know who you're doing business with, what they're doing. And if they're part of that ecosystem, that means every company and every other stakeholder, to a degree, is vetted, because you know you're doing business with good people.
Mujtaba, any thoughts on this? I mean, what I wanted to, and not putting you on spotlight, but you've launched a few programs at IOPN. You're working towards building a community. I mean, what role does a specific jurisdiction, or what role does I'd say a jurisdiction of choice plays in executing those decisions? Is it community? Is it regulations? Is it?
Absolutely, it's a combination of both. But I mean, in UAE, you've got different free zones that license crypto activities. But I think we were lacking a dedicated free zone for crypto assets to license non-regulated crypto activities. And it made it much easier for them to grant license and be operational. So it's a combination of both regulation and the community.
Okay. I'll move on to the most difficult question of the panel, which is, what does an ecosystem mean to each one of your companies? When I say ecosystem, I mean, are you looking at just the traders for Zed, or is there any bigger answer to that? The same thing to each one of you. I'll start with Zed.
Yeah, well, the ecosystem is, for us, the whole market, and it starts from whether it's the regulators, licensing entities, etc. And we all have to be on the same page and playing, or at least have the same rules spelled out for us, so everyone knows where we can go and how much we can do within this thing. And I think that's the biggest challenge right now, because there's so many regulators, and it's a new space, like legislating or regulating digital assets. We see so many different approaches, not just here, but throughout the world as well. And there's no, it's not an objective thing, like this is the right way to do it. And I think that's why we need to be careful and learn from like what's happened, for example, in the West, where you know, if we look at the West, like let's say America, they became an economic powerhouse with almost no regulation, okay? And the more regulation comes in, the more impediments that are happening. So we have to keep that fine line of like, yes, we want regulation, but let's learn from the mistakes of others now and just make sure that it's enough to have like to give investor confidence and protect the end user, but like, you know, but that's all. That should be the end of it, and then allow entrepreneurs and builders to come and be comfortable allocating capital and working in this space. So for us, it's about maintaining that relationship across. You know, we're always obviously in touch and communication with our customers and with the regulators, ecosystem partners. So as long as we keep that and we keep the lines of communication open, then we can set a framework where everyone's comfortable setting up their businesses, but also not feeling like they're being, you know, suffocated or attacked.
Absolutely, and I'm pretty sure the answer to an ecosystem, what is an ecosystem to you, Mujtaba, is a bigger answer, because you not only cater to the builders, but liquidity. I'll let you answer.
Yeah, I mean, to us, the ecosystem is obviously the participants of the ecosystem, the users, the developers, it's a mix of talents, capital, and yeah, I mean, we leverage on having those communities and attracting talents to build our ecosystem.
Over to you. What's your definition, and how are you taking? You've been doing some really good work in terms of activating different ecosystems. Is that your answer to kind of tap into, let's say, a Solana ecosystem, to a Avalanche ecosystem, and kind of create a overlap of everything? But I'll let you answer that.
Look, I'll speak from an ecosystem part as a lawyer, right? So we deal with all of the different regulators. And I'll be very honest, the way that I have found them approaching things is that they've taken a very surface level approach, and that's fine, right? But then they're trying to fit all aspects of virtual assets within what they've created, and it doesn't fully account for the space in general, right? The ecosystem. So it's different with RAKDAO, because even from the license activities, you can see that they know the technicalities, right? So you guys used to have, like, for example, node operator licenses. Yep. You have your gaming licenses, your AI, you know, NFT marketplace. So it differentiates between...
Not NFT marketplace.
Not anymore?
No
okay.
NFT marketplace.
But there are new other licenses,
we
like a DAO
recently
license.
launched the non-custodial wallet license,
yes.
and the DAO license was announced this morning.
Exactly. So let's talk about the DAO license, right? DAOs, it's a concept that a lot of people are wanting to integrate into their business, and yet there's only a few places in the world where you can actually get a license for it, and you have regulators that have regulations for it, and yet no licenses. So when I think about the ecosystem, it's from bottom to top. It's accounting for future, it's being clear in the rules and regulations, having the right people to provide the right guidance, and then internally also having people with the technical know-how, especially in such a technical space.
No, absolutely. I think of ecosystem, when I speak about RAKDAO ecosystem, we are looking at protocols who are working with us. We are looking at asset issuer providers who are working with us, service level companies, and I see everybody sitting across the board. So I'll go back to the far left, Michael. Ibn Era, coming into the UAE, working now with RAKDAO. What is it that you were looking forward to kind of build on and provide as a solution to the RAKDAO entities, and what's your North Star?
For us, we were coming to UAE really with no experience of how things worked here. We were foreigners coming to a new country, and we had to learn, you know, in other countries, there were language barriers, there were different ways of doing business, there's cultural issues. With RAKDAO as an ecosystem, it was a fast track to the resources we needed when we needed it. We cut through the red tape of communication and went straight to what we needed, and RAKDAO was there to support us, with whether it were lawyer recommendations, bank recommendations, anybody in the ecosystem that understood our business in Web3, and they fast-tracked us to the resources we need so we could execute quickly, which really ultimately saves time and money and headache. Because I've been in other countries where we've wasted lots of money on lawyers that went the wrong way. We hired the wrong people that took a salary but didn't do any work. And this was probably the smoothest place that I've ever been to launch a new business. And I'm America, I'm in the US, and I can't say that the US is more efficient than here.
I'd say that's a plus for us, and I love how this panel is now turning into a RAKDAO, RAKDAO positivity announcement. But Zed, I think the same question to you. What's the North Star in terms of CoinMina, and how can the ecosystem or the RAKDAO ecosystem specifically help you achieve that?
Well, maybe we're not the sexiest service, but we are the bridge between traditional finance and digital assets. So that's the whole reason our founders launched CoinMina, is they saw that the market needed a licensed and regulated platform where investors can very smoothly go between fiat and crypto, and most importantly, crypto back to fiat, and directly connecting their bank accounts to their CoinMina wallet. And that supports the whole ecosystem, because that's the bridge. And then once you're in crypto, once you're in the Web3, then the movement becomes permissionless and simple and instant. But it's that first step between traditional finance from your bank account, getting it from dirhams to Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever. That's the thing, and that's what we're focused on. So we want to make sure that we're doing that one thing really well, and then as the years go by, we'll add more and more services.
Absolutely. Let's call this the couch of manifestation, right? If you were to manifest something today, Mujtaba, what's your North Star, and how does the ecosystem help you achieve that, the decentralized world? The title, I just realized, is Mapping the Decentralized World. So again, community, collaboration. So what's your North Star?
I think I go back to the announcement of today's great announcement of DARE and the new wrapper for DAOs. I think this is the true platform or legal framework for decentralization. There has been a few attempts in other jurisdictions to regulate DAOs, but I think this is a well-thought solution for a small and large DAOs, and I think it would benefit us as a community-owned ecosystem, and it would be benefiting a lot of other DAOs across the world to come and set up their license here.
What's the manifestation? What is it? If you were to think that this is a magical couch and this gives you the grant that you wish, what's your grant?
Well, I think for me it's more about the user empowerment and the whole aspect of decentralization.
Spoken very humbly and like an innovator. What's your couch of manifestation? What's your answer to the couch of manifestation?
Oh, geez. Manifestation in terms of what? In terms of
what's your North Star for VA consultancy, sorry.
the sky's the limit.
Yeah, sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit.
Perfect. Now, closing statement.
Can I manifest something?
Yeah.
I would like to manifest that banks allow people to move their money wherever they want, since they already
the gentleman on the left
have completed
maybe, the gentleman on the left.
That
maybe,
would be nice.
Yeah. No, we are almost coming up to time, so any closing statements? I'll start from far left again. Any closing statement to the decentralized world, your experience? I know you've spoken fairly in length about how your onboarding has been critical, but anything you'd like to highlight about Ebenera, about the experience here?
I think just to say that RAKDAO, I think, is really progressive in the way they're tackling the Web3 innovation and inviting these companies and innovators here. Sometimes I try to put things in perspective of who was the first one to build out their Web2 infrastructure. And if you think about today, how would a country survive if they didn't adopt Web2 e-commerce with business commerce and consumer commerce? Anybody that's not keeping up with the Web3 transition is going to be left out of everyday buying and selling of all aspects of life. So on that same line of thought, whoever's first in line is going to drive all of that business. So if RAKDAO is really leading the way globally right now, which I think they are, I think that's going to drive a lot of money, and that turns into greater lifestyle and quality of life for everyone. But I think it leads an example for the rest of the countries to follow.
Okay. Any closing statements from you, Zed?
I'll just repeat something I said earlier, that we have a really great opportunity to be welcoming to businesses, international businesses, by creating a framework that's business friendly, and where the objective is to just invite people and grow businesses here and not to put barriers and too many conditions and restrictions, because just like they left, just like businesses are leaving other countries to come here, if we fall into that trap and whether it's regulators overreach, let's say, or become too involved, they'll just move somewhere else. We're in a global marketplace where eventually business and capital will flow to where it's most wanted.
Mujtaba, any closing thoughts from you? Thank you so much, Zed. That was really good.
I mean, I would like to congratulate RAKDAO's team on the achievement of the last year, and looking forward to the upcoming year. I'm sure you're going to do much better, and obviously we're going to work with you closely to expand this ecosystem together and to attract talents and capital to RAK.
Amen to that.
All I want to say is I know that we've all sat here and it's been looking like we've just been promoting RAKDAO, but it's just because it's genuinely, genuinely true. And all I, like, really just go out and try it. Just do an experiment, just pick a license activity, do it with RAK, and then try the other, like with some other free zones. Do it for yourself, and then you'll see why we're all sitting up here saying the things that we are.
No, I love this marketing exercise, and I hope my team, Nabil, I can see right there, he's been asking for recommendations and I mean, live recommendations coming out, but I'll end up by saying that there are 3 principles that we are working on at RAKDAO in terms of partnerships and how we see the ecosystem grow. You know, collaboration, converging, and compounding. So we collaborate together, we converge to Ras Al Khaimah to build your dreams and your vision of the products in the space, and we compound together towards taking you to the higher limits. With that, I'd like to close the panel. I'd like to thank all the panelists for their time and their thoughts, and thank you all.